Today we're chatting with Lynette Eason about her new book, Acceptable Risk. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lynette.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Acceptable Risk is releasing this summer, and it revolves around a military journalist. How much research did you need to do to kind of figure out both of those fields, journalism and the Army?
I did a ton of research. Fortunately, I have a friend who had the exact job as the hero in the story, Gavin Black. And so he was able to kind of give me a lot of feedback, exactly what they would do, and as far as even down to what they would eat. And then as far as the journalism aspect of it, I also have a friend in journalism, so I simply asked her about a lot of those questions about how to handle that aspect of the job. So that was cool. But I did a lot of research on it.
Very good. Okay, well, now I do have to ask you, what do
Sure.
they eat?
What do they?
Yeah.
He said that the MREs, the fake meal, the packets that they get. He said they the only thing that is really edible in them that they enjoy are the apple cinnamon bars.
Okay.
So I had one of them eating an apple cinnamon bar. But anyway, yeah.
All right, well, I won't bother ordering that in then. Without spoiling, any of the news story, is there much crossover from Collateral Damage? Are people going to recognize some characters, pick up on some storylines?
Yeah, there's some crossover from Collateral Damage. We had Asher and Brooke, who were the main characters, and in Acceptable Risk, we have Gavin and Sarah, like I said. Um, and the characters from book one do show up in book two, but they're more in a secondary role, where Sarah and Gavin are the main characters in this one.
I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you ever find yourself pouring your own experiences or the experiences of people you know, beyond the research that you did on the military and journalism side, but do you find yourself pouring some of those experiences into the plot lines or into the defining of a character that's in the novels?
Um, Not really, because my life is a lot more boring than what they're. I just really don't have those experiences. Every once in a while, something will happen. I think, oh, I can really use that in a book, and I'll kind of find a way to work it in. But generally, no, I pretty much rely on my imagination and then the feedback of others that may be in that, in that type of line of work.
Well, that's probably a good thing because this story has a hostage taking, a dramatic rescue, a suspicious death. So I'm glad that that's not personal experiences.
Yeah, no.
Uh, but if you were to describe, beyond some of those plot lines, the emotional plot of the story, what is it that the lead character or characters discovers?
Well, as far as Sarah, I think she had to discover how to forgive herself. Um, she had made a lot of choices, even as young as when she was in high school, that she really regretted. And she had to come to the realization that her past didn't define her future. It didn't, um, like, she could get past her past, so to speak, and realize that she has worth, that she's worthy, uh, she can be loved for who she is now, not for what she was.
Right. Well, our final question, has the COVID-19 isolation, the pandemic, has that affected your writing either for better or for worse? Have you found more time to write, or has it been a little more disruptive and made it harder to get to your writing during the
Uh,
isolation?
yes. Good question. Well, this is what I do all day, every day. I basically stay at home and work, with the exception of meeting a friend for lunch, or my husband works from home as well. When he's also a pastor, so when he's not at the church, he's at home. Or um, so I'm kind of used to having him around a little bit these days. And then my son is home from college, and which is kind of weird. Um, so there's been a little more distractions around here, but it hasn't really affected my writing. I tend to, when I start writing and I get in the zone and I just get really involved in the story, everything else just kind of goes away, and I'm in my own little world. And yeah, and then when I come up for air, it's like, oh, 3 hours have passed. Oh wow, I'm hungry. Um, so no, it really hasn't. I'm an introvert by nature. That's my personality, and so the whole social isolation, and it's kind of a minor annoyance for me, more so than I desperately need to go find somebody to talk to, kind of thing. So um, yeah, and I hate the reason for it, obviously, but it doesn't really bother me that much.
Hasn't changed your calendar.
Yeah.
Well, Lynette, thank you so much for spending time today to talk to us about acceptable risk. We're looking forward to it coming out later this summer, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me be here.